Now, for those of you that watch the live stream, you may have noticed that I've started messing around with early Overlord speed as well as early game Overlord drops in Zerg vs Terran as well as in Zerg vs Protoss. So what I got for you today is going to be a Zerg vs Protoss that I am playing at the same time as I'm giving commentary to it as well. So I can't really tell you whether or not we're going to be able to pull it off in this particular match, but at the very least, that's what I'm going to try and do. So the reason why I've been practicing this quite a little bit as of late is that I've noticed that pretty much all of the Korean pro gamers, and as you may be aware, the Koreans generally speaking, except for maybe the most recent tournament result, but I'm not going to spoil that. Well, I kind of just did. But anyhow, the Koreans generally speaking are going to be some of the very, very best in StarCraft 2, and for many, many years, they have been dominating this scene. In particular, their Zerg players are very, very high level, and they play a bit of a different style than the European or North American Zerg do. They, generally speaking, play a little bit more aggressive, and one of the things I've noticed is that they seem to go for Overlord speed every single match. At the very early start of, like, Legacy of the Void, and there we do see the Probe Scout come in, but at the early start of Legacy of the Void, we saw people tech up to 4 queens relatively early on. But one thing I noticed is that pretty much all of the Korean dudes are now opening up 3 queens while leaving the drones in gas. And after starting up Zergling speed, the next thing they start up is going to be Overlord speed. Now, I've only been practicing this for a couple of days thus far. I have to say though, so far it's been going very, very well. And I've been winning a lot of matches. But obviously, generally speaking in StarCraft 2, in order to optimize the strategy, in order to, you know, make a strategy and a tactic work against several opponents in every single match, you're gonna have to practice quite a little bit. And on top of that, I've noticed that if you want to do it properly, it's very difficult to pull off, because the fact of the matter is that if you're going to be involving Overlord scouting as well, you just simply have a lot more things to do, right? But anyhow, I found out right now that my opponent does have a relatively early expansion up. We already know about the fact that he's going to be using that relatively shortly to try and squeeze out as many probes as possible. And I've got a couple of Zerglings already running across the map right now. Now, I'm going to be using those primarily for safety purposes. Want to make sure that I get that third base up. But please notice, right? I got my drones still in the gas geyser. And this feels really weird to me. This feels very, very strange to me. As I've had many games where you just want to squeeze out those extra minerals as fast as you can, right? And you don't really want to be wasting them all too often early on getting additional gas. Because generally speaking, that's just not going to be as helpful. But anyway, we're going to be starting up our third queen right now as well. Third base is on the way. And I'm going to start knocking down these drones right here in the very back. So here's the idea, right? Going to be getting the Evo chamber here next as well. Here's the idea. I want to be getting +1 attack on my Zerglings. And I also want to be going for that early Overlord drop. Now, I'm not going to do it super early. It's not like I'm going to rush it out or whatever, because generally speaking, that seems to be a mistake. But I do still want to get it, you know, quite early on as well. Now, link speed will be done shortly. He's probably... Is he going to time it out? Nope, he's not. Well, tech. We do still want to do it relatively early without, like, you know, it becoming too much of a liability as well. There we go. And right about right now is when I'm going to start scouting about in my opponent's base. And I'm also going to go ahead and send out a couple more Zerglings. Now, in total, we can fit 4 Banelings into a single Overlord. And actually, I mean, if his front door is wide open like this, I'm not going to complain about any of this. Oh, would you look at that? Would you look at that? Would you look at that? All right. Well, hey, new plan. We'll just wait here for a little bit. Tech up towards the lair. Get some spores as well, because I'm going to probably need those. And while I did just end up losing quite a couple of links, I think we're going to be A-okay against many scenarios here. Okay, so my opponent is indeed moving out right now. I'm going to leave a couple of links right over here. 4 of them in total. Re-hotkeying the stuff that I've already got. And we're going to have to obviously position our queens quite well here as well. But all things considered, I think we're in a good spot. So while this pressure is going to be happening, I'm going to have to make sure that I'm microing as well, right? I got to be very careful about this. I'm going to be getting a couple of Banes at home as well. And there's actually a third base going down. So this is pretty much perfect for me. Gonna morph in the Overlord. And I'm gonna morph in one more Bane here too. And while I haven't really seen a whole lot yet out of the opponent, all things considered, I think we're looking pretty okay. Okay. Gotta be moving those in. And here's the overload drop, okay? We're gonna start pushing across the map here as well, leaving a couple of links at home. But here is my push. Here's what I want to try and do. There we go. Oh, yeah. So many kills. So many kills. Going straight for that expo now. I do not want that third base to be up. And keep in mind, these links do have +1 attack, so they're gonna be really strong. If I kill these pylons, that would be basically a guaranteed snipe on that third. I just have to be careful that I don't blow up my own beans. That would be helpful. There we go. Got it. And I'm still making a lot of stuff right now as well. That third base is taking a ton of damage. I know for a fact, though, that there's gonna be a bunch of pressure here. And I gotta be careful that I don't accidentally get surrounded. You know what? I'll let my Banes lead the charge like that. Move over these dudes. And now we're gonna start droning again. So notice, right? We've been playing super aggressive here. This is a style that I am not used to. I am not playing it nearly as good as I could either. But you can see that this is definitely giving us a very nice lead, right? Oh, you know, here's that style that a lot of Koreans are doing as well. And Neep. Neep made this very popular over the last couple of days. Basically, he's gonna start dropping like absolute mad. We're gonna need to get the queens out. And if he's stuck in like a tight choke like that, we can't really engage it very well. But all things considered, this is looking pretty good for us. Now, he did once again retake that base, and I probably could have defended at home without, like, using my entire army. It's kind of a mistake by me. He didn't even go for the Dark Templar drop there in the end. He just sort of pushed here. I think I'm gonna go ahead here and get my Hydra Den too. Okay. Photon Overcharge did get triggered there. And I'm gonna be starting up my +1. My +1 missile right now too. I think I'm gonna go ahead and take the 4th now too. So notice, right, I'm missing out on a lot of things like creep spread and all that. And we're gonna have to start building that back up. Ideally, with a little bit of practice, I think I could do that quite easily too. At the same time as I'm, you know, pushing while dealing damage to my opponent. Also gonna start spreading my overlords out across the map so I can see any kind of incoming war prisms, but more importantly, prevent him from getting any expansions out. And with that, we've got a very nice economy to start building that Hydra ball off of. These things are gonna do damage for all of eternity, which is kind of annoying for us. He is picking up rather aggressively though, which is probably a good thing for me. But he's gonna be able to do quite a bunch of work. Anyway, Hydras are on their way right now. Fort base is on the way right now too. This should be pretty solid for everything considered. This should be pretty good for us. Gotta be transitioning here towards Lurker too, if I can. And I do have a lot of gas here. Because this is another thing I've been trying to incorporate a lot more, and that's Baneling play. Baneling's obviously extremely powerful against Adepts in particular, and a lot of Koreans also have been favoring that style quite a bunch. But I think that Overlord drop early match did quite a bunch of damage. I think I did quite a little bit of work there. So hold on. Let me do a bit of scouting. Oh, no. He just killed a lot of my workers. Let me do a little bit of scouting, see what kind of army composition we should be expecting from my opponent. Now, there are Dark Templar here. So I'm going to try and... Oh, man, I'm not going to get a scout in, but we do see that there's a bunch of Stalker. Okay. Going to reinforce with purely Zergling right now. We will need to hit those Queen Injects. If he's pushing out right now, we're going to be able to deal with this quite easily. Oh, get it! Nice! That's huge. That's huge. That's huge. Kill that probe real quick while we're at it. Okay, gonna run across the map right now. Reinforcing with purely Zerglings. Morphing the Hydra Den here as well into a Lurker Den. And we're gonna get some more Banes while we wait for some more reinforcements. Now, I can start pushing here. I just kind of want to, like, start baiting him into some aggression. Oh, no. This is bad for me, for that base. Sadly, that base does end up falling here, which is all too unfortunate for me. But we got a lot of stuff here. And with some reasonable connections here, I think I'm able to do quite a bunch of work here. Not really losing all too much here to the Disruptor hits. And it looks like I'm, for the most part, cleaning up his army. This is kind of risky, though, because I am engaging into photon overcharges right now, and I know that there still is... Woo! That there still is quite a lot of engagements, or quite a lot of damage incoming from my opponent. He's going to be able to start warping in here like crazy. I'm also going to start tacking up towards the hive right now myself and get that spire out. Sadly, adepts are very good against light units. Like my Hydras, like my Zerglings. And without Banes, it's going to be difficult to engage. If only I would have injected slightly better, I think I would have been able to win right here, because I've got a lot of leftover resources. I also should have remade that base already, to be honest with you. I'm also going to go ahead and get this base started. Now, we did do quite a lot of damage there, all things considered, and I think we're still in a very good spot. I'm going to need to start transitioning towards a couple of Lurkers here, though. And I'm going to try and keep that base alive. Oh god, oh god, oh god. Ooh! Wow. That sucks. Overlords are coming in, or Overseers rather. He's gonna try and go for the base, that's too greedy. He knows that that's not gonna happen. Just with a single DT? No way. But we do have our Lurkers out right now. I was morphing in a couple. They're already out on the minimap. I'm using my all army hotkey here quite a little bit too. Probably need to be a little careful doing that this often. And I'm also gonna go ahead and get some spores and spines over here. Okay. Once again, going for a morph in here. And also going for a bunch more Banelings. Probably not a bad pick. If I can split off part of his army, I can snipe off that base quite easily. Okay. Okay, that's fine. If I can, like, zone him away from his own third, it would make things way easier for us. Sadly, he does get a very nice engagement there. Ooh, got an observer. I don't know if he's got more observers, but that's very good for us. He's got a big army here, though, which makes this kind of terrifying. Gotta make sure that I don't split up my army. And that I don't take any massive hits from, you know, these things. Because they're pretty scary. Ooh, 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 ooh. Okay. He's got a lot of stuff, actually. We're gonna have to back up. We're gonna have to back up. We're gonna have to back up here. Switching towards a greater spire now. If I can prevent myself from losing right here, I think I'd be in a good spot. We know he doesn't have a fourth base, which is very good. But if I die, obviously that's gonna make things impossible. I do have a bunch of bases now. I need to be very careful, though. If I get Brood Lords out, that would be quite an easy game over for him. But the issue is that until that happens, I'm not gonna have a whole lot. I'm kind of worried for that moment. May have to start pulling queens as well. Just in case I'm gonna hotkey those. Okay, now he's gonna start moving across the map right now. How's the Greater Spire doing? It's not gonna be done in time. We need more Lurker. I don't think it's gonna be done in time. Getting more Zerglings here as well. I may have to sacrifice one of these bases, which is fine. Oh no, he's actually just securing that base. Alright. That makes it actually a completely legitimate situation for me. I added on a couple more Corruptor, which is relatively greedy, to be fair. Oh, I don't need too much gas either. It's kind of a risk if you get too much. We'll also get here the Adrenal Glands upgrade. I need to really get some more vision out though, because we're kind of blind here. Okay. Getting the brutes. Also gonna start running across the map here with Zerglings. I don't think he's expecting Brood Lords right now. We're gonna start just simply pushing here with Zerglings. It's because I don't really know exactly where he's gonna be located here. Looks like he's pushing into my third, but that one's turning out to be alright. He's not really pushing, or he's not really holding back here, is he? Okay. Oops, sorry about that, dude. Okay. Morphing in more and more Brood Lords here. Trying to just simply get a huge army. Okay, he's forced to warp in at depths, which is great for me, but since I'm now very close to maxing out, it's time for us to start raining some damage. So this is going to be a tricky engagement, as I've got a lot of different types of units. But I think I can do it. I'm gonna have to burrow my my Lurker underneath the Brood Lord. Oh god. What Lurker? I don't remember any Lurkers. Reinforcing here with more Hydra as well. Very good. Gotta be very careful here though, because obviously one wrong detonation can cost me the game. Looks like he's going for it. That was a decent connection there for him. We're still pushing onwards here, reinforcing with more and more Hydralisk. I feel like we've got a lot. I feel like we've got enough stuff here. Maybe I should have brought the queens. The queens probably would have been a good choice. But my opponent decides to GG out. Whew! That was one of the most epic games of Zerg vs Protoss that I have played in a little while. I genuinely hope you enjoyed watching that match. I felt like we played reasonably well, but I also feel like I made some fair points of improvement that I still need to be making. Because as you may have noticed, in a couple of occasions during this match I was floating a bunch of minerals. We lost that fourth base to like 2 Dark Templar, which is inexcusable. I didn't have that third base injected for a little while. I didn't control my Lurkers nearly as well as I should have. So there's like a lot of little things that I feel like need to improve upon as well. Like when the push first happened with +1 attack, as well as Hydra range, as well as Baneling speed, I was floating like 600 minerals right there while not sniping his third base. If I would have been able to spend all these minerals into Zerglings, I'm pretty sure I would have won the game right then and there, like 10 minutes prior. But either way, very happy with the final result. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. I'm always very critical of my play, okay? That's just who I am, I suppose. I always try and improve and look at not so much like the things negatively, but I'm always looking at things, you know, for future improvement's sake. It's not that I'm not happy with this victory though, because I'll take these sweet, sweet ladder points. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. If you haven't already, do make sure you hit that like button down below. And if you want to see more content like this, make sure you subscribe so you get a notification as soon as I upload more. And other than that, I want to thank you all for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, alright? And I will see you in the next one.